Hey everybody, welcome to our Tuesday night evening webinar. I'm your host Cameron Terry, one of the directory managers and CEOs here at Avena Originals. I've been passionate about natural health for the last 28 years. Some of you guys have heard my mother's story. We were losing my mother in 1996 due to a case of terminal lupus. This lupus was ravishing her body and destroyed one of her kidneys and was quickly destroying the other kidney. Through the principles that you're going to hear tonight and the information, we applied this into her desperate dying situation, and she was able to recover. She fully recovered, both kidneys 100%, no sign of lupus to ever return in her body. So that was really quick on why I'm here. Ever since then, I've been studying, passionate learning, and wanting to share and educate others so that I can provide hope and the possibility of you being able to take this information and create your own story with it. So thanks everybody for joining us tonight. See a bunch of people already on the call. So format's going to be very similar to normal. I've got a presentation that I want to walk us through. To be respectful of everybody's time, I won't be answering any questions or comments or anything during the presentation. But feel free, as questions come up, you can post them in the chat. At the end of the presentation, I will be spending some time doing question and answers. I'll go back through that chat and I'll answer the first questions first and kind of just roll through those questions until everybody's questions are answered. Tonight's topic is the Avena experience. The idea of what does it really take to heal in 2020? Because it's not just about buying enzymes or probiotics or detox or a cleanse. Healing is much more than that. It's a state the whole body gets into. I often like to think about it like this, is your body has like three different priorities. Priority number one is going to be survival. The body will actually eat away at itself. It'll eat away at your tissues, your muscles, whatever it needs to do to make sure that it survives another day. And so it can degenerate, it can actually damage your parts of your health to ensure that you are going to live another day. So survival is priority number one. I don't think there's anybody out there that would argue that idea. Priority number two is maintenance. The body wants to maintain its current state of health into tomorrow. It does not want to degenerate. It does not want tomorrow to be worse than it was today. So it will do whatever it can. It'll use up as many enzymes as it can. It'll use up as much nutrition and energy as it can every day to try to make sure that you are maintaining your current state of health. The third priority would be healing. So the idea here is most of us are hovering somewhere between the survival and the maintenance. We are aging, which means that we're not reaching that homeostasis, that perfect balance of what we need every day to maintain ourselves. How are we ever expected an organ or a tissue or a gland to heal and to improve if we can't even reach that maintenance priority? The body isn't going to use excess or the nutrition you're taking in to heal if it can't even maintain its health. So the maintenance requirements become first. And then if there's leftover, if there's a surplus of enzymes, surplus of energy, surplus of nutrition, amino acids, you name it, that can go into the yesterday's shortcomings, right? So what didn't we get solved yesterday? Then we can look at the day before that and the day before that. And if you stay in that mode, you are now growing younger every day, not older. And this is where the body will expend its excess nutrition to address disease, illness, aches and pains, loss of muscle mass, you name it, whatever it is, the body's going to be working at healing. And from my experience, the body doesn't heal all its energy into one point. It's kind of like a floodgates open and everything gets healing, and the whole body heals as a whole, not as individual parts. The whole current medical model that the world is using right now is all built like the body is running on individual parts. So when the liver has a problem, they forget about the rest of the body and they only focus on the liver. Or if the pancreas is having a problem, same thing. What do you think would happen if we flipped that upside down and we looked at the body as a whole? If you were having any symptom of aches and pains or disease or illness or degeneration, then why wouldn't we work at the whole body? bring the whole body up, because I guarantee you this. If you get your body so healthy that it becomes the ultimate disease-fighting machine, there is no disease, aches or pains or state of degeneration that your body can't heal. Simply said. So I'm going to turn on my presentation. Here we are. And let's walk through what it looks like. We're going to talk about diet. We're going to talk about exercise. We're going to talk about our environment. We're going to talk about our emotions. And at the end, I'm going to provide you with what I think are some of the world's best tools. These tools are designed specifically to work with the body as a whole unit, to cleanse, detoxify, and empower that natural healing ability. All right. Opening slide, just a little bit of information on me. I have 20 or more years experience in holistic healing. My mother battled lupus. We talked about that. I've been passionately part of over hundreds of illness recoveries through Avena's lifestyle that I'm going to present to you today. I've personally lost over 72 pounds. I've battled a major crippling parasite infection back in 2004, and I was personally mentored by Michael O'Brien and Lou Corona. Here's a before picture at close to about 300 pounds. And this is a recent picture here of me and my wife. Very different. I can tell you health feels very different at those states. So what you'll find when I'm talking to people on the phone or in the office is everybody's looking for a magic bullet, right? Give me one pill, give me an enzyme, something that will totally nullify all my bad choices, totally make up for my lack of exercise and my poor outlook on life. And I'm going to just take one pill a day, and that's going to fix all my problems. You know what? There is no such thing as a magic bullet, and stop chasing it. But there is a lifestyle. And that lifestyle change can reverse serious and chronic disease. Any symptom, any illness, anywhere can be addressed with a lifestyle. If you're looking for a magic bullet, I have one for you. It is called a whole food, raw, plant-based lifestyle. And I'll get into that a little bit here. So this is a page taken right out of our catalog. What you'll see is this is some core philosophies of Avena Originals. So anybody that is new to Avena Originals is going to kind of often wonder, how do we operate? What is our core beliefs? Well, here they are. The human body is amazing at its own ability to heal itself. And the disease doesn't just randomly happen. We believe we create disease by the way we eat, think, drink, and play. We believe that we need to work at the root causes of the problems and not chasing symptoms. And we believe the human body can and will heal itself. Any circumstance, anytime. And every time I come across a situation that I don't think is possible to heal, somebody humbles me and shows me that I should never, ever underestimate the power the human body has. These are the 5 pillars that we're going to be discussing tonight: food, exercise, emotions, environment, and natural health products. Let's jump into the first one here, food. Food is the one thing that we voluntarily do 3 to 5 times every day. It has the single greatest effect on our energy, on our mood, and our health, and most importantly, our future. And yet, most of us aren't making the best food choices. Something that is so important that we do so many times a day, and yet we easily neglect this area. In fact, check this out. Food is the most abused anxiety drug. There's another fact. 1 in 3 young adults will become obese simply due to emotional eating. That's 33%. I think that's pretty sad. It's a sad state that we are in as a society. But actually, STAD has another name or another meaning. It's an acronym that stands for the Standard American Diet. And I believe that the Standard American Diet is today's cause of our diminished health. This generation is experiencing the worst health issues at the youngest ages ever seen. In fact, here's some potential health concerns of a young adult: depression, obesity, Crohn's, IBS, a whole wide gamut of autoimmune disorders, heart disease and strokes, cancers, diabetes, allergies, cysts and tumors, ADD or ADHD, acne, acid reflux, eating disorder, asthma, alopecia, bipolar disorders, carpal tunnel, celiac, COPD, diverticulitis, kidney stones, endometriosis, gout, herniated discs, and thyroid disorders. This is a short list of stuff that I deal with often with people 21 years or younger. Now, when I was growing up, in a lot of my schooling and in my understanding, most of this was caused or really only affected your senior citizen ages. This was your 70 years plus. So what we're experiencing today is really difficult because it's affecting younger ages. And we're seeing this even creep into our teenagers and our preteens and our children, which is very concerning for me as a father of two kids. I don't want them to ever have to experience this, let alone in their early stages of life. So all of this can be controlled and formed by food. Here's what I think we should be doing as food. If you are healthy and you want to look at what is one of the best ways of protecting my health moving forward, let's look at the left side, preventing disease and illness. This should be 80% of every meal or every plate being raw living foods. So when I'm saying raw foods, I mean uncooked, unprocessed, unbagged, and living foods mean foods that are alive. If left on your counter, they will rot. If the food never rots, then it's probably not alive. 80% raw living food. So this would be, the banana off the tree or the apple off the tree, the carrot or the potato out of the ground. You should try to find these fresh and local. And most importantly, they should all be clean food. When I define clean or cleanliness, what I'm talking about is they shouldn't have ingredients. You don't pick up an apple and look for the ingredient list. You don't look at a stalk of celery and expect there to be other ingredients. What you're expecting is 100% whole food. Some of the most important things that we can remove to improve our health is, first of all, refined sugar, alcohol, breads or any kind of wheat product, dairy, coffee, and caffeines. Now, the other side of this is if you are sick and tired, if you're already sick with any disease or illness that you're trying to recover, in critical shape, or constantly fatigued, you should experience what 100% raw living foods can do for you. You will get 2 to 3 times the benefit of what you get in 80% raw food. When I went 100% raw food, I literally had 5 to 6 hours of increased energy every day. What could you do with 5 hours of increased energy? I lost weight. I felt so grateful, so humbled, so connected to my environment and the people around me. It was one of the most uplifting, encouraging experiences of my entire life, was going 100% raw living food. What about exercise? The human body is made to move. Now, every expert I've ever talked to agrees that exercise is incredibly important for the human frame, as the human body relies upon exercise to move several of the fluids inside the system. Remember, if food is the most abused anxiety drug on the market, then exercise is the most underutilized antidepressant. I am absolutely shocked at how many young females and males I talk to that are suffering with depression. And yet one of the best results or one of the best solutions could possibly be cheap and ubiquitous. Here's a study from Harvard Health that I want to share with you guys. Harvard Health had this to say: depression is one of the most common mental illnesses, affecting a staggering 25% of Americans. That number today is actually quite a bit higher at about 33%. But a growing body of research suggests that one of the best cures is cheap and ubiquitous. In a 1999 randomized controlled trial, showed that depressed adults who took part in aerobic exercise improved as much as those treated with Zoloft. If you look at this graph on the screen, first of all, the first three sets, the black, white, and gray, represent exercise, people that just exercised. You had almost a 90% recovery from depression from people that just exercised. You only had like a 3 or 4% of people that partially recovered. And it looks like only about 7 to 8% are the people that relapsed. So we're talking almost 80% of the people fully recovered without any sign of relapsing. That's really impressive for me, especially because exercise is free. It doesn't cost anything, and it's available to any single one of us. The second three bars are people that use medication, Zoloft. Looks like only 54% fully recovered, whereas 7 or 8% partially recovered. But look at this number, almost 37% relapsed. So that's the majority, or almost as many people as recovered ended up relapsing back into depression when they used medication. So you would expect that maybe the combination of medication and exercise would be the best solution. Well, in the third bars are people that did just that. We combined exercise and medication, and people that recovered improved to like 60%, but the relapse is still way up at 30%. So half of the people that recovered ended up relapsing when they were using medication and exercise. Simply put, exercise is the most effective way of dealing with depression. This is easy to say, but how do you convince a depressed person to exercise? When you're depressed, you don't want to exercise, you don't want to go outside, you don't want to meet people, you could care less. You kind of fall back into this little hole and you shelter yourself. I've never personally struggled with depression, but I spend a lot of time with people that do. And exercise works. It really does. If you really want to get out of depression, if you're dedicated and focused, you can do it. And exercise is going to be a powerful tool for you. You combine that with some of the natural health products I'm going to show you, and I can almost guarantee success. And the depression stays away as long as the exercise lifestyle is followed. A lot of us think about exercise as something that we do for vanity, to have muscles, to be fit, or to lose weight. And there's nothing wrong with all of that. Exercise can help you achieve all of that. But there's something far, far more important in our systems than our vanity or our body image. And that's our lymphatics. Your lymphatics, which mean lymph, right? It's the water in our body, is responsible for moving most of the toxins that we're exposed to. Your macrophage, your cellular network, your tissues, and a lot of your organs dump into your lymphatic system. And your movement, your exercise, jumping up and down is what really creates that movement. So we can't pump toxins and we can't detoxify if we're not exercising. People that exercise a lot, professional athletes or labor, hard like construction laborers or hard physical labor type jobs, feel like they can get away with eating a lot more junk food or making a lot poorer choices than others because they're constantly all day long detoxifying. But for people that work a lot of time at a desk job or inside of a different situation, driving trucks, for example, these type of people will struggle because they're limited to their lymphatic exercises and their lymphatic detoxification. I'm just going to shut off the screen here so you can kind of see an example. Imagine like a one-way valve. If pressure below is pushed up because I jump up, that valve opens up and the fluid comes up. And then that valve closes behind it, trapping that fluid above. No matter how much pressure you put on these fingers downwards, they won't open the other way, right? So they can open up, can't open down. That's similar to how your lymphatic system works. So every time you bounce, fluid moves up, stays up, moves up further, stays up, moves up further. And so constant exercise and movement is pumping fluid through your system, through your entire body, into your main lymph nodes, where it's then being detoxified through your kidneys, through your spleen, and into your intestinal system for elimination. And that's what these green pictures, this little diagram here is to show you. It is so important to pump and to move our lymphatics for health. I really can't stress this. One of my favorite sayings is, we don't stop exercising because we grow old. Really, we grow old because we stopped exercising. And the healthiest people you will meet are people that make exercising a priority in their life, ongoing, forever. So, what does this mean to you? It means find an up and down motion. If you're not physically fit, if you don't have the cardiovascular to do jumping jacks or jump rope or any type of like cheap, easy exercise like that, get yourself a rebounder and just bounce on the rebounder. Let the rebounder do all the work for you, but it'll have your body going up and down and up and down and up and down and up and down. And that is going to pump your lymphatics through your system effortlessly. You just need to spend time on it. How much time do you need? Well, a minimum of 20 minutes is what it takes to do one full cycle of the lymphatic fluid through your body. So do a minimum of 20 days, but imagine the benefits you could get if you did 30, 40, 50, 60 minutes a day. What if you did 20 minutes on the rebounder, 20 minutes walking the stairs, and 20 minutes jump rope? It doesn't have to be expensive. It doesn't have to be anything. Simply just doing the stairs up and down will move your lymphatic fluid. I often get calls about people that are disabled. How do you get somebody in a wheelchair, can't bounce on a trampoline, can't do jumping jacks, can't do anything? Some of the other benefits you can do is called lymphatic massaging, where you manually push that fluid up. So lymphatic massages will always be from the extremities towards the core, the pelvis and the collarbone area. Something else you can do is hot and cold therapy. In a shower, warm yourself up as hot as you can handle it. Then turn it to as cold as you can possibly handle it. Try that for like 15 seconds the first time you do it. Then 30 seconds the second time you do it. 45 seconds the third time. Up to a whole minute of cold water. And then always end your shower on cold. Now that's something you can do that will pump and move your lymphatics, because you are hot is going to expand all those tissues, cold is going to contract it, expand and contract, and that's acting like a pump. So we all have options, and there's no excuse not to move our lymphatics. There's a saying that talks about, lymphatics that don't get moved, and it starts being referred to as cementing. Let that visual sink in there for a second. All this like waterish fluid moving throughout your cells and your tissues, all of a sudden turning into cement. How difficult is it going to be when you start moving again? We've all probably experienced this, whether we broke a bone or got sick and couldn't move. If you spent months, disabled, crippled, in a cast or something, and you start moving that fluid through there again, it hurts. A lot of people that haven't exercised in months are all of a sudden wanting to exercise, and it's painful. It's painful because you are literally trying to move something that is almost solidified through tubes and vessels that are designed for liquids. But the answer isn't to stop. The answer is to keep going. As you move that, it'll break apart and it'll keep liquefying back into its good state of being a clear liquid, and that you can easily pump throughout your body. And then the goal is just to maintain. You'll just need to maintain that lymphatic fluid ongoing. And you can get creative on ways that you're going to do that. So try this. Here's a take-home exercise that I want everybody on the call to try tonight. 20 minutes up and down motion. You pick it. Stairs, rebounders, trampolines, jump ropes, jump squats, anything. Rebounding is the single greatest exercise that moves the largest amount of lymphatic fluid with the least stress on the body. If you've got a rebounder, do it. Let's all do it together tonight. Minimum of 20 minutes. If we can do it today, great. If not, let's do that before next week's webinar. I would like to see you guys do it every single day. So, emotions. This is stepping outside of my realm of expertise here. But I know, and I've visually seen, that stress can kill you faster than a bad diet. Here's some examples of feelings that we feel that will eat away at our health. Things like stress, fear, guilt, remorse, anxiety, worry. If you're spending your day stressing or afraid or guilty of something, anxiety or worry, this is going to eat away at you. It literally will. And there's no amount of good food or supplementation you can do to undo the damages that these can cause on you. These are the feelings that we should really be focusing on. Things like love, forgiveness, joy, sympathy, laughter. Remember that movie Patch Adams with Robin Williams, where he portrayed a true life story of a recovery center, a healing center that just worked on laughter. You checked yourself into this facility and there was no negative anything. The entire experience was about joy, laughter, and love. And how many people were healing naturally simply by removing these poisonous feelings that they were holding on to every single day. Here's a cute little quote that I found. If you're not going to deal with your negative emotions, you might as well return to McDonald's, where your food and emotions have something in common. I don't mean to pick on McDonald's, but they're not focused on health food. And there are several documents and studies showing that if you eat McDonald's every single day, you will get sick. You will degenerate faster than almost any other diet that I've seen people follow as far as like a fast food restaurant. Here's another quote. You can't live a positive life with a negative mindset. If you want a positive life, you have to have a positive outlook. If you have a negative mindset and a negative outlook on life, you will create a negative life. Let's talk about our environment. Nature has an incredible connection to our health. Simply getting outside in the sun, grounding yourself on the earth, and breathing fresh air are wonderful instruments for true health. So when we talk about environment, we often think about, the sun, the earth, the air, the water. But your environment is what you surround yourself with. And I'm not surrounded by the sun or fresh air or fresh water or the earth. I am inside of a building, sitting on a chair on top of a desk. None of that is really here in this area. But what else am I surrounding myself with? Artificial lighting, recycled air. I have hosts of issues. So what I want to project to us, or what I want to propose, is that environment is more than just our outside earthly environment. But what are you surrounding yourself? Toxic relationships, people that are constantly pulling you down. When you're trying to eat healthy, they're going out and buying donuts. When you say you don't want to eat the donuts, they order in pizza, or they know whatever weakness is. First time I did this, I had to sit down with my wife because I told her that I was going to go on 100% raw living food, and I tried to remove all the temptations out of the house to try to make this possible. And she was in total support. She says, yeah, this is a really good idea. You should do this. We'll support you. Day one, she comes home with a dozen Tim Horton donuts. I'm like, how in the world is this support? She's like, well, if you're going to remove everything out of the house that isn't healthy, I wanted a secret snack or something I could eat. You don't have to eat any of these. Putting something that I want to eat right in front of my nose, knowing that I don't necessarily want to eat it, or I'm trying to refrain from it, especially on day one when I'm really pushing or testing my willpower. She realized the error in her ways, and she was far more supportive from that point forward. But artificial light, concrete, recycled air, if this is what's around you all day, we need to be conscious of these. We should be surrounding ourselves with good friendships, natural light, nature and plants, fresh air. Does this make sense? I hope so. The more we get outside, the more we experience nature, the more we will feel. There's an incredible book that was written about 3 days in the wild, and it talked about people that spent 3 days totally disconnected from electronics and cities and their normal life, and just spent 3 days outside camping in the wilderness. The changes that they visually experienced were incredible. Really good book if you look into it. There's a lot of talk about grounding. And what's happening here is all of these electronic devices that we're exposed to every day, they are pulling us away. So like if we were to look at like center or grounded was here, if we are constantly having all these cell phones and computers and Wi-Fi's and radio waves and everything are pulling us off of that grounded or that center frequency. And the further we get away from that frequency, the less harmonious our bodies function at, right? Our body's energy is now disrupted. And nature is this big grounding force here. And so simply by touching nature, you start to pull yourself back into that grounded state. So go outside, take your shoes off, take your socks off, walk in the grass, touch the trees, walk in the water at the lake, go for a swim. All of these are going to take this energy that's been distorted and pull it right back into a grounded state. But most of us will get up in our house, we'll put our shoes on, we get into a car that's got rubber wheels, we drive to our work, we walk on the concrete from our work into our building, we work all day in the building, we go home back into our house, sit on our couch, or sit in the office, or do whatever we're doing. And a lot of us will go through our entire day without touching nature. That's why I think I have this like deep calling and passion to just disconnect, grab a backpack, and I disappear into the wild. And I do that as often as I can. And often it's not even into a set place. I grab a backpack and I drive west until I meet a cool lake or a stream or a river. I'll park the car and I'll hike as far as I want to up that river till I find a cool place to pitch a tent. And that's night. And that's where I'll sleep. And I'll spend a day or 2 or 3 days out there until I feel totally refreshed, totally grounded and connected again. And then I come back and I'm ready to go back and deal with life, deal with the job and the responsibilities that I have, realizing that they're not the ideal situation. So I compensate with using nature. Here's another take home. Spend 1 hour every day outside. You don't have to take your socks and shoes off for the full hour, but at one point, walk to a cool park that's got well manicured, well done grass or something, and take your shoes and socks off and run around for a little bit, or sit with bare skin touching the earth. That is going to help pull that frequency that is now off base back into the center where it needs to be. Smell the flowers, touch the rocks, trees, flower, be a kid again. Enjoy nature. There is incredible power in Mother Nature and in the earth. Here's a couple quotes that I like that are still around that environment theme. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most amount of time with. So if you're surrounding yourself with people that eat worse food than you do, that drink or smoke or party or do the things you're not really wanting or don't want to be a part of, these 5 people will slowly start pulling you into that. What happens if you surround yourself with 5 people that are inspiring to you, that live healthier, better lives, that are more active than you are? You will become closer to them. You will exercise more. You will eat better foods. You'll be more grateful, more humble. You have such control over the people you surround yourself with, so pick wisely. Be with people that know your worth. You don't need too many people to be happy. You just need a few real ones who appreciate who you really are. I think we can look at society, especially the kids growing up right now. Facebook is really damaging this whole idea. A lot of these kids are judging their self-worth based on how many friends they have on Facebook or how many likes they get on a picture that they post on Instagram. And if only 10 people like their picture, they feel like they failed and they, spiral into depression. What kind of society are we building that, it's where people think that it's better to have 5,000 friends on Facebook than 3 friends that you can absolutely know that you can count on? Because if you have 2,000 friends on your Facebook, there's very little you could tell me about those people. And are those 2,000 people truly going to be there when you need them? Would they meet the minimum requirements that you would call friends? Or are they more like 2,000 acquaintances that are also trying to get 2,000 people on Facebook? So everybody's liking and friending everybody without actually adhering to the word of what friendship should mean and should be. So let's move into natural health products. Let me introduce you to the world's best natural health products. Avena Originals is a 100% whole food supplement free of any fillers, extenders, preservatives, excipients, no animal products, no sugars, sweeteners, you name it. It is the cleanest product on the market, hands down. When you look at the ingredient list, you're going to see whole foods, real foods, no chemicals, no additives, no artificial flavorings, no, like I said, no fillers, no excipients, no extenders or preservatives. We are a 100% Canadian company. We are an Alberta-based company, a family-owned Alberta-based company. And every single product that we sell has been fully reviewed and licensed and approved by Health Canada. You'll see an NPN number on the front of every one of our labels. And that is verifying that what we say is in the bottle is absolutely in the bottle, and there can be absolutely nothing in the bottle that isn't on the label. So you can be rest assured that you have the highest quality product in the entire universe. So let's talk about the first one. The herb cocktail is the ultimate detoxifier. The reality is you aren't going to eat 100% raw living food, and you're not going to eat perfectly clean food. So you need help to detoxify. You need help to pull these poor choices and these chemical-ridden processed foods out of our bodies. Herb cocktail is a gel that forms in your small intestine, pulls all of these toxins from our organs, tissues, and glands into the intestinal system where it traps it in that gel. So that gel's like a big vacuum cleaner. It's never sharing anything in it, but it's constantly absorbing. That gel then puts pressure on your intestinal lining, which stimulates the peristaltic action, which is the natural movement of the bowel. When that bowel naturally moves, you can experience the increased bowel movements. So when you're detoxifying, what we'd expect to see is an increase in volume and an increase in frequency in your eliminations. And some people say that that's inconvenient, but holding on to these toxins is far more inconvenient. In fact, these toxins are likely to cause over 95% of the diseases that we're dealing with. This is the number one selling product for over 25 years. And good reason why. This product will help you think better, feel better, lose weight, have more energy, and potentially help you start reversing aches and pains and any disease or illness. Because the cleaner the body is, the better that natural healing ability has. Remember how we talked about tapping in to the human body's natural ability to heal? Well, 95% of our toxins are coming from, or diseases are coming from toxins. Then 95% of your effort should be about detoxification. So I would start here. Every single person on this call, if you're not doing this already, get on it and start doing it. The herb cocktail is the ultimate detoxifier. It'll increase your detoxification efforts 3 to 4 times faster than if you were just fasting and dieting alone. My recommendation would be 1 teaspoon twice per day on an empty stomach, like 12 hours in the morning, 12 hours apart. So like first thing in the morning and late in the evening. When I do the herb cocktail, I would do anywhere from 6 to 8 ounces of fluid. Now, over 70% of the people that have used this for long periods of time do come back and say combining it with orange juice, like especially a pulpy orange juice, is far more effective for them than just combining it into water or a different fruit juice. So I would advise you to try orange juice. If you're concerned about the sugar level of orange juice, do like a mix of orange juice and water. Remember, a lot of that orange juice and sugars are going to get trapped in that gel, and you're not actually going to absorb a ton of those sugars. There is going to be, of course, some sugars absorbed, but nowhere near what you would expect from a glass of orange juice. Next is the enhanced digestive enzyme. They really are the spark of life. But enzymes are what allow your body to break down the food into a liquid. And that's an important process for two things. A, it reduces the amount of energy required for digestion, which means you have more energy for other things like healing. Second of all, it removes a lot of the stress and the toxic byproducts and increases the amount of nutrition you're getting from the food. So you can get more energy, more nutrition for healing from the food with enzymes than you could without. And the fact is that your produce that you're buying from your supermarkets, whether that be organic or not organic, is completely void of enzymes. And without enzymes, you're putting stress on your body to digest food that was never designed to digest. The body does help you digest your food, absolutely, but at a cost. When you make your body digest food, you're actually preventing the healing of your kidneys or your organs or your tissues or your glands like your heart or your muscles will be sacrificed because the enzymes designed for those processes are going to be diverted, switched over to a digestive enzyme through your pancreas and helping you digest your food. This is not a good thing to do. We also have a superdigestive enzyme. The superdigestive enzyme is 3 times the power of the enhanced enzyme, as well as having additional enzymes in it to focus around cellular healing and detoxification of the bloodstream. And so for people that are really looking to amp up their enzyme levels to a serious amount, these are expensive enzymes. There's no kidding around on that. It's definitely there. But the superdigestive enzyme is the most powerful blend available on the market today. Lorraine, no, the vitamin C content of the orange juice was not the process. It's part of it is the acidity of the orange juice. The other part is the pulp actually adds to the fibrous gel that is being produced by the herb cocktail. So you can't just take electric C and water with the herb cocktail. It's the acidity of the orange juice as well as the pulp. That combination is really what makes that herb cocktail excel to its highest potential. So superdigestive enzymes, 5 capsules, 3 times a day is a great starting point, but you can do more. Mike O'Brien's had people do 100 to 500 enzymes per day. The famous Dr. Bernard Jensen was doing 500 enzymes through a feeding tube. Right? So his wife would fill up a feeding bag full of enzymes, pump it into his stomach, and then do a bag of probiotics, and then go back to a bag of enzymes. She would do that constantly all day long. And he was one of the most interesting and influential, powerful recoveries. Here's a guy that was given 3 days to live with no chance of recovery. And in 8 weeks and 1 day, he's fully recovered, healed, hiking on his ranch in incredible health. That shouldn't be possible. At least that's what we thought. Bernard Jensen really showed us how powerful the human body can heal itself. And he credits enzymes as probiotics as powerful tools to turn that process on. We've hinted at probiotics in the last couple sentences. This is unlike any other probiotic on the market. The key here is that the word proteolytic. Proteolytic means it's antibacterial, antiviral, antiretroviral, antifungal, even antitumoral. This is a human strain that thrives in the large intestine. So it doesn't require any special coatings. It doesn't need any magic, any secret sneaking it past defenses. It is designed to be taken orally. These were naturally found in mother's milk. So they've always been designed to be taken orally into the human body through the acid bath of the stomach and not be negatively affected. These are incredible for any of your inflammatory bowel diseases. Things like Crohn's, colitis, IBS, diverticulitis, ulcerative colitis. But not only that, it's a huge part of your immune system. Right now in the middle of this pandemic, to have a probiotic that is antiviral, that actually seeks out, eats, and destroys viruses, that sounds incredible. That sounds very important in the middle of a pandemic, a viral outbreak. You guys know that superdigestive enzymes, the previous product, also increases your white T cells count by over 1,300% and can increase your macrophage by 700%. These are incredible in the middle of a pandemic like what we're experiencing. And if we want to keep our immune systems rock solid in incredible shape, Follow the previous lifestyle, bring in some of these tools, and your body will be so powerful at fighting off pathogens that your risk or your, risk of getting infected becomes ultimately low. We've got this combination of whole foods here, RP3 and the E-Fusion. This is 100% plant-based whole foods, all 100% raw. So you're wondering how you're going to get your protein raw? Here's a really quick, easy, convenient solution. And the E-Fusion is vitamin E. It's a potent form of whole food vitamin E's containing 4 tocopherols and 4 tocotrienols, giving you 8 different varieties of vitamin E. And that's really rare because if you go to any health food store and you look at a vitamin E, you typically get one variant, which is D-alpha tocopherol. So to get 8 different naturally occurring ones becomes exponentially powerful. You can actually combine the 2 of these together for amazing healing. For the last few weeks, you've heard me talking about my wrist, which is almost 100% healed. Combining the RP3 and E-Fusion, I have sped up the healing of a grade 1 compression fracture on my wrist, as well as a hairline fracture on one of my wrist bones. Something that was supposed to take 12 weeks to recover is now almost fully recovered in 3 weeks. And that's just, it's super exciting for me to live it and to experience it myself, because I've been working with professional athletes and senior citizens that take these terrible falls and are breaking bones and are looking to speed up their recovery. In fact, Darren Bearclaw talks about being able to recover faster at 37 years old than he was at 21. So electric C. Most vitamin C on the market is built around ascorbic acid, because ascorbic acid is like the shell. Visualize with me here for a second, just a chicken egg, right? It's got this beautiful oval shell on the outside. And if you were to look at that, you would think, hey, that looks great. It looks perfect. I will buy that. What happens when you get home and you realize that egg is hollow, that it's nothing but a perfectly formed shell? You would feel pretty ripped off, right? Because you're not buying the egg for the shell, you're buying it for the inside. And that's the problem most vitamin C's on the market have. Ascorbic acid is the shell. So if you're just buying ascorbic acid, you're buying a hollow egg. Because inside of that egg, if it was vitamin C, would have electrolytes, bioflavonoids, P factors, K factors, potassium, zinc, ascorbic acid. And this whole combination is what makes up truly vitamin C. And here's how this works, right? Here's an example that you can see. And we were just talking with a lady this morning about it. If I take 2,500 milligrams of ascorbic acid, it goes right through me and I get diarrhea, meaning that I can't use 2,500 milligrams of vitamin C or in an ascorbic acid form. But in the electric C form, where everything's together and I can utilize it as full, complete parts, do you know how much I can absorb? I can use about 20,000 milligrams before getting diarrhea. That's 10 times the value of vitamin C using this formula. So you might work out some of the numbers and say, yeah, but it's twice as expensive of what's on the market. If it's twice as expensive, but 10 times the value, that's a no-brainer for me. That's a win. That's giving me 8 times still more value per dollar that I spent. Try taking 1 teaspoon or 1 tablespoon twice per day, especially during a pandemic. Vitamin C is well known to be a huge boosting to your immune system. Minerals real last. Minerals are unique, powerful foods. Remember that first slide where we talked about food and how important food is? Problem is your food isn't grown on mineral-rich soils at all anymore. Unless you're growing your own food, then this doesn't apply to you. But for most of us that are buying food from organic markets or from superstores and Save-On Foods and Sobeys and IGAs and Overweighties, any of the co-ops out there, your food is grown on 3 core minerals: phosphorus, potassium, and nitrogen. That's it. And so where do you get your minerals from? because your tap water that you're drinking out of your faucets or out of your fridge or your filtration units, they don't have any minerals in it either. It's all been stripped. So most of us are living mineral deficient lifestyles and diets. And one of the best things that we can do is actually supercharge our system back up with more minerals. Try taking 3 to 5 twice per day. Now, if you're getting nauseous or lightheaded, cut back. Some of the minerals on there can make some people feel quite nauseous. So take them with food if you're feeling nauseous and start smaller, because 3 to 5 caps is an average recommendation for a wide variety of people. Vitamin Supreme. Here's a combination of vitamins, minerals, amino acids, and enzymes to deliver the most potent and valuable multivitamin on the market. Because see, vitamins are best described like a supercharger for minerals. Minerals are only really utilizable if they're chelated with an amino acid. Well, the chelation process requires an amino acid to be present, or protein, as well as enzymes to do the chelation. And that's why every plant, every vegetable, every nut, every seed on the market in the world has all of that together. You don't find a whole food that doesn't have some protein, some amino acids, some enzymes, some minerals, and vitamins, unless man's adulterated it and taken that out of the soil. Here's a product that delivers that complete ratio, start to finish, which means you will experience what real vitamin uptake is supposed to feel like. It's also known as the feel-good product. The vitamin C's, the vitamin D's, the vitamin E's, and the vitamin B's in here give you that positive feel-good. A lot of people are finding it very effective to protect or to deal against depression, bipolar, and several other mental health issues, simply by providing the body with the essential nutrients that it needs. Now, because each one of these capsules are sharing that space with all these different things, we need to take more. You can't just do a one a day. All right, one a day only works if you're isolating everything and delivering, a synthetic version. In a whole food form, there's a lot more mass to these vitamins. Then you add in the minerals and the proteins and the enzymes. Try taking 8 to 12 per day. And you might want to do 8 or 12 twice per day, or you might want to take 8 or 12 total per day and split that into 2 different, like 4 to 6. My advice to you is try both and see which one your body is thriving on the best. So I've got some testimonies I want to share with you guys of people that have embraced this lifestyle that we talked about, because that's what Avena is about, right? People asked, am I selling natural health products? I'm like, no, I don't think I am. I am promoting and educating a lifestyle. The products are just tools that people need to make it functional, to make it convenient, and to be capable of pulling it off. So a little disclaimer, right? The body does the healing, not the product. These people this is their experience, and there's no way that I can guarantee that your experience will be the same as theirs, as well as the FDA and Health Canada have not reviewed any of this information. And under no circumstance is it designed to replace any medical advice. Always consult your physician for any medical circumstances. So here's a wonderful story. Christina was from Winnipeg. When I first talked to her, she was struggling to get pregnant. And so fertility was one of her biggest concerns. She wanted nothing but to start a family, and she was struggling to do so. And through some of the medical tests that she did on this infertility, they found out that she was suffering with multiple sclerosis. And multiple sclerosis was used as the description or the determining factor on why she was miscarrying and struggling to get pregnant so much. During one of these tests for multiple sclerosis, they had found that she had thyroid cancer. And so they booked her for thyroid surgery, and they cut her from her chin down to her collarbone to remove her thyroid. Now, while they had her cut and skin peeled back, they noticed all these dark black spots all over her lungs. Through an ultrasound, they determined that she had stage 4 aggressive lung cancer. So they were doing this ultrasound on these lungs and realizing, oh my goodness, she's pregnant. Can you imagine the storm here? in a very short period of time, you were told that you may never get pregnant. You have multiple sclerosis, an autoimmune disorder. You have thyroid cancer. They physically take your thyroid out of your body and then tell you have stage 4 aggressive lung cancer. Oh, and guess what? You can't do chemotherapy and radiation because you're pregnant. I can't imagine. I really can't. How you cope or how do you process something like that? How she decided to do it, she says the pregnancy was a miracle. It was a prayer being answered in her life, and there was no way that she was going to abort that pregnancy to do any kind of chemotherapy and radiation. So she walked away from the medical system, being told that she was stupid, that she was gambling with her life, that she was going to risk her and her child's life, because they didn't think that she had 9 months in her life expectancy. So they wanted her abort the pregnancy, start aggressive chemotherapy, possibly save her life, and look at getting pregnant down the road. She heard Bernard Jensen's story. She heard about my mother's story. She heard about Michael O'Brien. She flew from Winnipeg into Red Deer. She sat down with us and says, I want to do it. I'm going to do this. I have to do this. She started juicing like 2 heads of kale every single day into water. And she says, I hated it. She was doing 100% raw food and close to 500 enzymes a day. In her words, that was a full-time job, was blending, swallowing enzymes, and preparing constant food supplies. And in 3 weeks, she had this coughing attack that she thought was game over. Her lungs were sore. She was coughing. She started coughing up blood, and she started to panic a little bit, like this was the end. But what was happening that we realize now was these tumors were falling apart in her lungs and breaking apart. And so she started coughing up the blood from these bleeding tumors, as well as she started coughing up the actual tumor material itself. Isn't that crazy? Within 3 weeks of doing this like super aggressive approach, she started to completely reverse lung cancer. After she had coughed up all of this cancer material and all of the blood stopped and she returned to normal, she never had a problem come back. She was diagnosed as cancer-free. She basically diagnosed herself as cancer-free because it's been 18 years and she's vibrantly healthy. She has no symptoms of multiple sclerosis. She's had multiple healthy pregnancies. She has no cancer anywhere in her body. The only thing she regrets from the whole process is losing her thyroid. Looking at how the rest of her body radically healed, there's no reason none of us have to believe that her thyroid wouldn't have healed as well. So it's a wonderful story. She's dedicated her entire life to providing raw food options. She's actually the owner and founder of a company called Drink Me. They are cold pressed raw smoothies, and you can buy them in a lot of specialty health food stores. So if you ever see a product called Drink Me, think of this testimony right here. And this lady's the founder. We talked a little bit about my mother's lupus story, so I'm not going to spend tons of time there. My mother was dying of lupus in 1996. She couldn't eat a banana, she couldn't walk or crawl, and every inch of her body was covered in blisters, boils, and blood. The blisters would crack and uric acid would dry out her skin, and her skin would crack open and it would start to bleed. That's how difficult and how ugly of a disease lupus is. But in 8 months of doing the Avena lifestyle, she fully recovered and lived another 18 years with never having a reoccurring symptom of lupus ever reappearing. What about ALS, like Lou Gehrig's disease? This is something that you just never hear success with. Everything from the nutritional industry into the medical industry, nobody's even able to slow down the degeneration of ALS. And yet here's an example of a guy that took this lifestyle and did it seriously. He took it to the extreme. And over 3 years, he dedicated to this lifestyle you just heard about on 100% raw living food with high levels of enzymes, probiotics, detoxification. And he stopped ALS. Absolutely stopped it, right? So he was given 6 months to live by one of the top ALS practitioners in Canada, Dr. Eisenhower in Vancouver. A year later, he comes and sees this doctor, walks in there himself, which is impossible for an ALS student a year after, 6 months after you're supposed to be dead, to be walking. He dances, he plays, he is amazing testimony of what the human body is capable of. Even the most serious and like bewildering diseases like ALS can be reversed by the human body. I have no idea how the human body did it, but I don't need to. All I have to know is the human body is capable of it, and I need to trust in that process. Here's one of my good friends, Cindy Layton. When I first met her, she was greatly overweight, constantly tired all the time. She would take 2 or 3 different naps during the day, depressed, finding no joy in life, no reason to live, no desire to be there. She was also hyper allergic to almonds, like anaphylactic response to almonds. She'd actually been hospitalized twice in the year that I met her because she'd come in contact with an almond. It only took 30 days on this lifestyle that we talked about tonight, on 100% raw living foods, and she was allergy free. She ate handfuls of almonds right in front of me. She was down 30 pounds of excess body weight. She was energized. She wasn't napping or tired at all. She was actually the last one up in her house. And she found joy. She says, I've never been so happy in my entire life. All it took was 30 days. For somebody that is suffering for years and years and years with weight issues and being tired and depressed and allergies, to be able to turn all that around in 30 days, when you talk to her, she's like, why didn't I do this earlier? Because everybody convinced her that it was hard and it was difficult and it would take forever and that it wasn't worth doing. Amara Jackson, I just spoke with her the other day, and so this is still a valid testimony. She was diagnosed with hematomacrosis, which is what we define as a genetic disorder by the liver where we overproduce iron. And so they feel that, these people that with this genetic disorder have always overproduced iron and always will produce too much iron. So the only solution the medical system suggests is what they call blood draws or bloodletting, where you go in every 2 weeks and they take large amounts of blood out of your system, which decreases the amount of iron and allows the iron levels to come back up through that natural production. Until it's too great again, then you bloodlet again. So 12 years of drawing blood to deal with the excess iron in her body. Her doctor is now shocked that she no longer needs any blood draws at all and appears to be completely symptom-free of hematomacrosis. So she still carries this gene, but no longer is her liver overproducing iron, which would lead me to believe that hematomacrosis doesn't necessarily mean you're going to overproduce iron as long as you are feeding and taking care of yourself properly. And the last one I have tonight, is I'm a couple minutes over my allotted time here, is El Helmrich. He wrote me this letter. I just want to share it with you guys. In January of last year, 2013, my wife and I were directing schools for pastors in Haiti. On January 7th, I woke up all yellow. My yellow color and my large extended stomach was all the evidence they needed to diagnose me. Now, I still had 6 weeks of work to do in Haiti, but I promised the doctors that I would eventually get checked out in Providence in Boston when he was done. So he didn't even leave. He just kept working because he really was dedicated to finishing this missionary work. When he got back to Boston, hospital then confirmed that he had pancreatic cancer. And then when he got home to Kelowna, he went to the doctor, and the doctors here with his Canadian healthcare put a stent into his gallbladder and let the bile flow. They drained 18 liters of fluid from his abdomen. 18 liters, that's like one of those huge 5-gallon jugs of water, which are 18.9 liters. So almost an entire jug of that drained from his stomach. Like, how big was his stomach is what, I never saw a picture of this, but I'm sure you can visualize with me how extended it must have been to be holding 18 liters of excess fluid. His doctors want him to go straight to the cancer clinic right away and start chemotherapy and radiation for pancreatic cancer. But he told his doctors that he was going to be okay. He embraced the Avena lifestyle. He brought in the enzymes. He brought in the detox. And sure enough, his pancreas fully recovered from pancreatic cancer. Did the enzymes cure cancer? No, I wouldn't say that at all. I would say the enzymes removed a ton of stress off of that pancreas. And now an organ or a tissue or gland without the normal stresses will heal. It can focus more on healing than it would on cleansing or trying to keep up and being overburdened and overtaxed. So here's your option. Here's your inspiration. You've heard the stories of many people succeeded. You've heard what the lifestyle looks like. What are you going to do? Why not start embracing more of a raw living, fresh food into your diet, into your world? I can't think of any reason why I wouldn't. So just leave that there for a second. I've also got a special offer, something I think might be a little fun for us tonight. For those that have stayed on the call, a little reward for being part of the live group. I'm just going to activate it here. If you guys want to check out the offers, in just a few seconds here, I'm going to enable a spin the wheel. So when you visit our website, there's going to be a little spin wheel that comes up, and you can spin your wheel for a chance to win a coupon. Coupons range anywhere from free shipping to 5%, 10%, or 20% off. And these coupons will be good for 24 hours. The spin the wheel function is only going to be on the website for the next couple hours. So you'll need to visit the website and get your coupon code right away. And then you'll have 24 hours, basically until this time tomorrow. All right, that should be working. All right, so I'm just going to take the next few minutes to answer a lot of the questions that have been asked in the chat while I was going. While I'm doing that, you guys should be listening, but also make sure you head on over to Avena Originals website. And I'm just going to pin that up here. For anybody that doesn't know what that link is, you can copy and paste or click on that. Oh, I did that wrong, sorry. Three W's, not four W's. All right, over the film of the first questions we have. How do I ever heal a body that always has aches and pains, Linda? Well, Linda, I think that's a conversation we need to have over the phone. That's not something I have enough time to walk through over a webinar, but you can do this. Absolutely, you can get over your aches and pains. It's going to be a process, but the body will recover and get stronger and healthier, and you could potentially end up completely pain-free. I worked with a lady with such bad fibro that you couldn't touch her. You couldn't hug her, you couldn't hold her hand. Everything hurt. And 3 months later, I saw her. She ran across the room and jumped into my arms and gave me this huge bear hug. Cynthia says she got off of Facebook. I hardly use Facebook at all. Dawn, what's the minimum amount of liquid you would use with the herb cocktail? Minimum I would use is 5 to 6 ounces. Don also asked, have I heard of activated charcoal? I started taking them and it seemed to affect the herbal cocktail. Didn't seem to have the release in the morning. So activated charcoal, I don't know of any contraindication with the herb cocktail, but definitely try to keep it far away from the herb cocktail. And Don, it might be a good idea just to experiment a little bit with your system. Try doing no activated charcoal for 3 days with the herb and then do the herb cocktail, and see if that restores and improves a lot of things. Activated charcoal typically pulls a lot of things into it and kind of traps it in there, but it doesn't have the ability to stimulate and move the bowel system at all. Dehydration can also be a big reason on why you may not be eliminating. A dehydrated colon will typically greatly slow down the elimination, so it is possible. I think you need to play with a little bit water consumption and the charcoal and herb cocktail and see what's working. Lorraine asks, Cam, is it possible, and Mike O'Brien mentioned taking orange juice was part of the formula? So I already answered this, that the vitamins, it's not just necessarily the vitamin C, it is the acidity of the orange juice as well as the natural pulp that's in there that creates the best version of that gel. Bernadine, thank you. Avena products are the best products ever. Absolutely they are. And Chatty, I agree 100% with you, and thanks for sharing. I use the powder probiotics. How many scoops should I use? Irma, you could use plenty. We really haven't found a detrimental level of probiotics. Each one of those scoops equals a capsule. Bernard Jensen was using 200 probiotics per day. I use close to 20 probiotics per day, so like 20 scoops. But it's entirely up to you. I would use a bare minimum of 3 scoops twice a day, though. So Laura's suggesting 8 to 10 per day. That's a great number as well. It really depends on what you can afford, what you're getting the best results from, and try to balance that affordability and functionality. Johnny says the Vitamin Supreme is the best vitamin she's tried in 20 years. That's awesome. Thank you. Cynthia saying, what did she take? I'm not if you're referring to the hematoma or Cindy. Maybe clarify in the chat here, Cynthia, up top, which person you're referring to. I'm not sure what did she take is in reference to. What brand of Nascent iodine do I prefer? I prefer an Ascent iodine that is in a glycerol base instead of an alcohol base. And I prefer like a salt bed, something coming from the deep salt layers of the earth. Michelle's asking if she take the Vitamin Supreme plus the minerals. So when you take the Vitamin Supreme, Michelle, the minerals that are in there are used for the consumption and the availability of that vitamin. The difficulty there is the Vitamin Supreme won't really deal with vitamin or mineral deficiencies. Minerals a day, 1 a day, I do not think that is enough. I would suggest doubling or tripling that and playing with numbers for yourself. I find 3 to 5 works for me as a 200-pound, 6'1" male. So if you're thinner, smaller, shorter person, you would obviously typically need less. Lorraine, if you're exercising, eating better, etc., how much probiotics would I take for weight loss? I would take 2 to 3 capsules with every meal if you're focusing around weight loss. So anytime you eat anything, take 2 to 3 capsules of probiotics with it. Cynthia, for Cindy's allergies. Okay, so Cindy was doing a lot of detoxification. She was doing high levels of enzymes, probiotics, and the herb cocktail. Those were the 3 main products she was doing for the first 30 days. She was also doing lymphatic exercises, things like jump squats, jumping jacks, riding our bikes, being active. All right. Has everybody got a coupon from the Spin the Wheel? Did anybody get a 20% off coupon? Coupons are usable only once, so make sure you don't share that with anybody and they use it up and then you can't. But anybody right now can spin the wheel. So please encourage your friends, family members, anybody you know to visit the Avena website and grab a coupon for the next hour and a half till that coupon spin the wheel deal is over. And then you have 24 hours to use your single coupon. Valerie, what product should a novice start with? I would start with the herb cocktail. Then I would start with the enzymes, and then I'd add in the probiotic, and then I'd add in the RP3 and the E-Fusion, kind of in that order. So pick what you can do. If you're going to start with 1 product, herb cocktail. You're going to start with 2 products, herb cocktail and enzymes. 3, herb cocktail, enzymes, probiotics, etc. Bernadine's asking about the Ascent iodine. You take that internally, and it's a huge part of our thyroid. It requires iodine every day. Iodine is also an important part of protecting and preventing radiation poisoning. And we're having these low-level radiations from all our electronic devices. As well as soy is creeping into our food supply everywhere, and soy actually leaches iodine out of our system. So we're seeing an increased thyroid deficiencies being caused by iodine deficiencies. And especially when we're in Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, these landlocked provinces, our access to iodine drops dramatically because natural iodine really only exists in the ocean or deep in the earth where the ocean used to be. So eat your kelp, eat your dulse, right? Eat your natural sea salts if you can find a clean source. And then supplement with iodine when you can't. These discounts can be used on any item that is eligible. So I do not think that the non-Avena products, so like your juicers and your dehydrators and stuff, are not Avena made products. So I don't think the coupon will work, but you can definitely give it a try. Chatty, Avena's iodine is being labeled right now. And then we're going to try to get it across the border. Glucose iodine, yes, glucose iodine will work. The Nascent iodine works better, and the Nascent iodine Avena's producing in that glycerol base, I think, is going to work really well. So if you already have an iodine, absolutely use it till it's gone, and then after that, try Avena's Nascent iodine. We should have it in stock by then. Any other questions, guys, before I wish you guys all a good night? Oh, notified me somebody got a 20% off coupon. Congratulations to whoever that was. Thanks, Joe. Thanks, Chatty. Thanks for all of you guys, whether you are actively mentioning in the chat or silently sitting back and just learning. I appreciate every one of you. We've got a great audience on the phone call tonight, so I'm just really pleased about tonight. It's been a wonderful Tuesday for me. There's so much to this lifestyle that I hopefully did a valid job of portraying it, because this is what healing looks like. If you bring in the food, the exercise, the emotions and environment, combined with the natural health products, there is not a disease or disorder out there that stands a chance. Luba, I'm wondering if you're asking about the iodine is not available on the website yet. We are still waiting for final costs and to make sure that we can get it across the border. Thanks, everybody. Have a wonderful night. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Hopefully some of you guys got some great coupons that you can use. Remember, those coupons expire in 24 hours. So you need to use that coupon up before this time tomorrow. And you can encourage all your friends and family members to visit the website. The coupons end at, or the spin the wheel where you can get the coupons is going to end at 8:30 tonight. So we've got just over an hour left. So Caroline, to get it to spin, you need to put in your email address and then hit the button that says try my luck. And that should cause the wheel to spin. If you're still struggling, try a different browser, like try Google Chrome or Safari or Internet Explorer or Edge or any one of those. Sometimes it's just a browser incompatibility. We don't have any, Michelle, we don't have any items on sale technically right now. But yes, you can use the coupon code on any coupon eligible product. So usually like a product that's on sale for 10% off or like a monthly spotlight, yes, you can use the coupon on there. If we're doing a big sale like 20% off, those are restricted, and so you can't double up a coupon with the large sale, but you shouldn't have a problem this month on any sale items. Thanks, everybody. I'm going to say goodbye. Thanks for being part of the webinar tonight. Like always, if you enjoyed this call, Let me and the company know that it was of value to you. If there's a friend or family member that could potentially benefit from this information and is looking for help, feel free to share this link with them. Within the next hour, you'll receive a replay link in your inbox. That replay link does not expire, so you can post that on your social medias, you can share it with your friends, you can email it to them, and they'll be able to watch this entire webinar just like you did tonight. Yes, Michelle, you'd be able to use the coupon in combination with the Digestive Reset Kit. Lorraine, good to hear that it worked good on that. So sounds like the spin the wheels working well for everybody. Just remember to put in your email address and hit the button that says try my luck. That'll spin the wheel, give you a coupon code. Write that coupon code down or copy it into your clipboard. At the end of the checkout, there'll be a spot that says special discounts or coupon codes. Click on that, paste in or type in that coupon code, and that should automatically give you whatever the coupon's worth, whether that's a set value or a discount or free shipping. Wonderful, guys. I've said goodbye a few times. This one's for real. Goodbye. Have a wonderful night.